Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is the Arsenal review. We have got a little game to look back on that was played yesterday. Some small little insignificant game that we need to talk about. Also, as well, it is a really big week, of course, for Arsenal, the Champions League, or is it the European Super League? Not quite sure, but anyway, it starts this week. Or is it even the Europa League? Seems to be playing on Thursday night. But anyway, we'll talk about that little trip we've got to Atalanta, and of course, next Sunday. Well, it's the big one, isn't it? Following on from Tottenham away, we've got Man City away. Wow, incredible, isn't it? What a week it is. So, before any further ado, let's get started. And yeah, this is coming up the other side of when I find the right. There it is. There. And of course, it's not an Arsenal review show without Neil. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. How are you, Rich?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Obviously, we could be a lot worse, couldn't we, today after the match yesterday? So we're all in pretty good fettle today, I'm sure. Unfortunately, Lee can't be with us. He's on holiday again. He seems to have more holidays than Judith Chalmers.
I don't know.
But anyway, it's ridiculous. But anyway, he's on holiday, so we'll be back next time. But yeah, so he does send his apologies. He wishes he was here, but he's in the sunshine, so you can't really blame him, let's be honest. You can't really blame him. So, of course, yesterday, not a bad little day, was it? A Sunday afternoon across town. So what better place to start than a North London derby? Now, of course, from an Arsenal fan's perspective, there was lots to enjoy about that game yesterday. And okay, we didn't play great. We didn't play as well as we know we can play. But actually, in a way, I kind of enjoyed that performance more than I've enjoyed some of our big victories over the last couple of years. And the reason why was because it was such a throwback. It reminded me so much of George Graham's from the 1980s. We were brilliant defensively, so solid at the back. And we didn't pose much of a threat always going forward. First half a bit more than the second half, but we get a goal from a set piece, and it is of course the player wearing number 6 gets a winning goal against Spurs. Now that's happened a few times in the past, hasn't it? So that's what I really enjoyed about it, actually. And I've been thinking today, and I'm not sure whether I enjoyed it more because of the fact Martin Ødegaard wasn't playing, because he does wind me up. He annoys me the way he plays, actually, even though he's a great player and he's so important. I actually really enjoyed that performance. I thought the togetherness of the team was fantastic. I thought the way we dug in when we wasn't playing well. We knew we wasn't playing well, but our defence, I mean, that's been, for me, the last year or so, that's been the big difference, hasn't it? How much more solid we are defensively. I think the goalkeeper coming in's made a difference to that as well. And obviously, Saliba and Gabriel together now, they don't seem to miss many games. And you can see how important those 3 players now are. And I just dread any of those 3 being injured for any length of time, as we saw a couple of years ago when Saliba was out. I mean, those 3 are just brilliant, aren't they?
I don't know what to say. Let's look at I'm not normally a stats guy, but let's have a look. 4 games in this season, 1 goal conceded.
Wow.
2024 away games, 3 conceded from January the 1st to September the 14th or 15th, whatever the day was yesterday. 3 away goals. I mean, that, wow. And we're number 1 defensively on the charts, and no one's anywhere near us with all the statistics, whether it's shots, on target, off target, obviously goals conceded, all of that. I don't know what, there was a numerous, I think Match of the Day put them up. And it's just incredible. And that speaks volumes as to the throwback that you were just mentioning. George Graham came to the club with a philosophy that we'll start with the foundation at the back, and then we'll progress from there. And that's exactly what this is. It wasn't the prettiest of performances. I don't know if you agree, Rich. I don't think we've actually played well at all in the first 4 games. Not great,
no,
but
we haven't
somehow. No. But because the defense is so stringent, we got 10 points. And I'm sorry to say, speaking of goalkeepers, there's so much to say here. Speaking of goalkeepers first, I think all the great title-winning teams have always had a good goalkeeper or a great goalkeeper.
Oh, absolutely.
And that makes a difference, because I think if you've got a good goalkeeper, the symbiotic relationship that he shares with the defense is amazing, because their confidence in him, so they're equipped better mentally, and vice versa. The goalkeeper knows, do you know what? All right, they're good, they'll protect me, but even if it gets past me, they're the confidence in me to be able to stop the shot or stop any danger. And I think that is exactly what we're seeing with this team. And yeah, I agree. It was very much a George Graham performance. We didn't have much of the ball, because we've come to see from especially the Wenger sides that we're possession football team. We are a possession football playing team, and I think we've become. Everyone was talking about we can't adapt. We don't have a plan B or C. But I think now we can, because I think if we wanted to, we can play that possession football. But like yesterday, and I think a couple of other games this season, we're happy to sit back, let them do what they're doing, and then we can just, when we get one or two chances, we can take them, or the set pieces. And I remember Adams used to call from headers, Bowl used to do it. A number of our defenders or centre backs used to be able to do that, and that's what counts. And the other thing which has changed for me over the last 2-3 years or 4 years is we were very uncomfortable even when we were 2-0 or 3-0. Well, I was. Even when we were 2 or 3-0 up, I was uncomfortable, thinking we're still another goal because we're going to leak a couple now. And that used to happen all the time. We would be 2-0 up, draw 2-2. Now, even at 1-0, I'm comfortable, Rich. I don't know about you, but I'm so super confident in our defence. And they were doing it. They were almost toying with Tottenham. They were like sitting back and saying, "Yeah, come on, bring on, come on the wings, whatever you want to do. We're gonna lap it up," because we were so compact in that area. We were outstanding. Gabriel, Saliba. I thought Timber had a great game. I think Timber still probably because of his ACL, he's still on that recovery path. So, but I think once that is fully healed, but it's already fully healed, he wouldn't be playing otherwise. But just getting that match time in, I think his progression with the ball will be a lot better, which we've heard about what he can do, and we saw it. We saw it in the Community Shield. We saw it when, and I think there's snippets of him in Ajax, and Ajax thinks so much of this kid. He's only going to get better for me. But Gabriel and Saliba, Rich, they've got to be two of the best centre backs in Europe, if not the world, at the moment. They are amazing. Yeah. What a performance.
Yeah, no, they are. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, George Graham built the team on the defence, didn't he? The players have spoken about how much they worked on it in training, day after day after day after day. And I don't know whether or not we're doing it to the same degree that George Graham did. I don't think we are, because I think football's changed, but we don't really need to, because we have got, as you rightly said there, we have got the two, at this moment in time, we've got the two best centre-backs in world football. And the fact that they're a partnership together, playing in the same club at the same time, we're fortunate. We're very, very fortunate. And I think that, Gabriel's had a few ups and downs since he's been at Arsenal, I think. He's had his moments, hasn't he? And I think that what he needed was a partner like William Saliba to really bring out the best in him. And I mean, what can you say about Saliba? He's just incredible. What an incredible player. I still think he's a little bit outside of football. He does seem a little bit immature, maybe slightly. I'm a little bit concerned about that side of him. But on the pitch, wow, incredible. Absolutely incredible. And yes, I think Timber, you're right about Timber. I think that he's not quite 100% back best yet. He won't be, because he's only, he had an ACL a year ago, and it takes time to really get yourself back. But he's starting to get games now in the team, and any player that's going to push Zinchenko down the pecking order is a bonus for me. So the fact that he's come in and done well is great, because it might mean that we don't see much of Zinchenko anymore in the games that matter. So but from his own personal point, I agree. I think he's a great player, Timber. And my only concern now, and I know people won't agree with me probably, my only concern is Ben White at right back. He's the weak link in that defence now. With Timber, Saliba and Gabriel and the goalkeeper, I just think Ben White is the weak link. He's not a natural right back. I'm not saying he hasn't done a job there, because he has done a job there, but he's not a natural right back. And I do feel as though there are games when against the better players. I thought yesterday he struggled against Son for long periods in that game. He struggled against decent wingers before. And that's my only concern. And I think teams are going to look at that, and they're going to target that side of the defence a lot more, because he is the weak link. He is. And, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but in terms of the rest of the defence, he's definitely the weak link. And if I was a coach of another team playing Arsenal, I would say get out Ben White. Get out Ben White, because you can beat him, and he's going to do something stupid if you do. So that's my only concern. I mean, is Tomiyasu a better bet at right back? I'm kind of almost swaying towards when he's fit. He may well be. I don't know.
1-to-1, I think he is. I think 1-to-1 he is. He's better 1-to-1.
I do, yeah.
I think, White's strength is more going forward and linking up, overlapping and linking up with Saka and Odegaard at one point, and he was doing the triangles with them too. I think that's where his game is. And I mean, he's not a bad defender, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't brought in to be on the right. But he wasn't. He was. No. I think he was brought in as a centre back, wasn't he? If I correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know. So so he's another one that's had to change. Maybe their favoured position. And to be fair, look, he's done all right. It's not like if you think about it, a defence isn't
all right. It's not good enough now, is it? All right in this defence isn't good enough.
No. To be fair, the levels have gone up so much. I mean, to be honest, if we're going to win this title, Rich, we have to be perfect. We have to literally be perfect. Look at City, who normally tend to have a bit of a faltering start, and then they're amazing second half of the season. Well, they've started off 100% already, so God knows what we're in for. And and I'm sorry, I don't want to. I know that their thing has started, the court case has started, whatever has started about the pending charges. I don't want to beat them like that. I want the charges to happen after the season, after we've beaten them properly for the title. Because if, say, halfway through in January they're docked 50 points or something stupid, everyone's going to say, yeah, but you only won it because they got deducted points, and I don't want that. I don't want that. I want us to beat them on a level playing field, and then put the charges on them in the summer, and then relegate them to the Conference League or something. I don't care, but not now. No. I want us to do it, and to do that, we have to be perfect. And I think I agree with you about White. I think I love him. Don't get me wrong, I do love him, but I think against tricky wingers he struggles, and that may be our Achilles heel. But however, having again said that, it does take a complete defensive unit to achieve what we have achieved defensively over the last season and a half, 2 seasons. We have been very, very good at defence, and this 2024, I don't think 3 away goals conceded in 9 months. That's ridiculous, Rich, in anyone's book.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. And, it's strange because I thought the game yesterday was almost a carbon copy of the game at Aston Villa in their last away game, where, Villa could have been 2-0 up quite easily in that game. They missed some big chances. David Raya made a good save and what have you. And in the end, we got a couple of goals against the run of play in the second half later on and won the game. And that game yesterday was, apart from the second goal, it was almost exactly the same, wasn't it? And, and that's 2 difficult away games. Aston Villa, Champions League team, they've had a good start. That's their own. They've won every other game apart from that one this season. And obviously Spurs is Spurs. And although they are Spurs, it's still a North London derby away from home. And it's a tricky game. We've lost points there lots and lots of years before. So, and the fact that we've won both of those 2 games in the way that we have is a sign that this team has evolved. It has even with largely the same players as maybe 2 years ago. There hasn't been a massive turnaround in personnel. It's just maybe working on those players and it kind of falling into place a bit better. And you mentioned before about a plan B and stuff like that. And I agree. That was one of my biggest criticisms of this team and this manager, was that we played one way all the time. And if it didn't work, there was no other options and we'd just lose. And that was it. And that's why you saw our results used to be quite inconsistent. We'd win 3 or 4 in a row, then we'd lose 2 or 3 in a row. And that would be how it would go. And I didn't think that would change too much. I didn't think Arteta had it in him to be able to make that transition from one way of playing only to be able to, I wouldn't say necessarily mix it up, but to be able to get results in a different way. And we've been able to do that now. And you're right, away from home, it's tough in the Premier League. And to do what we've done, the run that we've done, since we lost against Fulham, I think it was just after Christmas, when we was 1-0 up and we lost that game. But that's the only game I've heard in about 60 odd games where we've scored first and lost, and that was the one in Fulham. And since then, like you said, defensively away from home, nothing's getting past us. And okay, yes, we need to. I think maybe at the Emirates sometimes we've struggled with low blocks to break teams down, and we've conceded some silly goals. We lost a few silly games at home, haven't we? And that's something, if we can put that right, we're on the right track. But I just enjoyed yesterday's game, and it might sound strange because it wasn't the greatest game. It wasn't the most exciting game. You know, Arsenal-Tottenham games, we've had 4-all draws. We've had 5-2 games. We've had all this drama, 3-all draws. I remember stuff like that, right? And we've seen some incredible, exciting games of football. But I actually enjoyed that, maybe as much as some of them other games, just for the sheer fact that we approached it in a totally different way. And it was just, for me, it was a throwback to the old days of football when it wasn't choreographed in such a way that it is nowadays. And it was just, you know, Tottenham had most of the ball, and that's fine because they didn't really do much with it. And even when they tried to do stuff with it, as we said, the defense was just shut it down. It was like a wall, wasn't it? Just a brick wall in front of the goalkeeper, and that was it. And nothing was getting through there. And I mean, just almost like, you know, the perfect away performance, wasn't it? Aston Villa was very, very similar, as I said. We've done it again. And we will talk a bit later about the next couple of away games that we've got. Certainly one next weekend. It's going to be a different test, obviously. We know that. But certainly the foundations now are there. And I still think that we're not going to get away with that every single away game. We're going to have to play better. We're going to have to create more chances from open play in a lot of the away games against other teams. We've got away with it twice and it's worked and it's been enjoyable. I enjoyed the Villa game for the same reason I enjoyed the game yesterday. So yeah, let's hope that we can get that balance right. You said we haven't played well in the 4 games, and I agree, we haven't. We haven't played that well at all. You know, in spells we've had moments in the games, but we haven't played very well for 4 games. And yet, like you said, we've got 10 points. If we can, once it starts to click, you know, yeah, we've got 1 or 2 players out as well. Once we get our team back, who knows where we can go. I mean, are you kind of, is that how you're looking at it this season, Neil, so far? Because obviously we aren't playing as well as we can do. You know, some players haven't reached anywhere near their best form yet at all, have they? Kai Havertz has been a bit hit and miss. Saka's not really got going yet this season. And the one player I did want to talk about is Martinelli, because I'm not sure what's going on with him. I don't remember last time he had a really good game. He worked hard yesterday. He was playing as a left back a lot of the time.
Better defensively. He was better defensively.
Yeah, he was brilliant defensively, and you can't knock his work rate. But I mean, in the final third, not just yesterday, this has been going on for a while. What's going on with him? Because he used to be so dynamic, didn't he?
I don't know. Just before I go on to that, I just want to say one other thing. Even if we draw against City, that means the first 5 games we've got arguably 3 of our hardest away games out the way in the first 5. And if we get a draw against City, that means we've got 7 points in those 3 away games. And that's brilliant, Rich. And we'll only be 2 points behind City. That is incredible the way I see it, because normally, knowing our luck, we'd be running in for the title, and then we'd probably get these 3 away games as part of our last 4 or 5. So it's good to get them out of the way. I mean, probably arguably the next hardest one. I mean, they're all hard. I'm not going to disrespect any. All Premiership games are difficult, whether they're home or away. But I'm just talking about just the next level up, a little bit higher up. And I think probably only Liverpool away would be probably a tough one. I don't think much of Chelsea at the moment. Newcastle's a difficult stadium to go to, but I'm really pleased that we've got them out the way. And let's hope at the very minimum we can get a draw or get something out of the City game, if not a win. But yeah, Martinelli, I have no clue. I have lauded on the guy since the day I saw him in that friendly, the very first time. And I thought, wow, this is going to be some player. He's going to be one of the best forwards in the world, not just in England. I love the way he was hooking up with Tierney in the beginning. Then he suffered that injury, unfortunately, but he was so dynamic, as you said, so dynamic. He was frightening to watch. Luckily, he was playing for us, but if he was playing for another team, I'd be frightened if you think, Jesus Christ, this guy is electric. And it's so much so that he caught the interest of Klopp. I remember Klopp was very envious of him.
Yeah, he was.
And I think he might have even tried to sneaky, and it made a call to see if there was any interest in acquiring him. And I think it's the last season and a half. It's been a while, Rich. It's not just the last few games.
No, I know. That's what I mean.
He's lost his final touch. Now, whether that be he can beat maybe the first, second man, but then he gets caught in the third. If he can beat the third, he doesn't know whether to pass it, whether to shoot. He plays with his head down. I don't think he's that aware, because if he was aware, he would have squared that ball to Saka. It would have been a great chance. It literally would have been an open goal for Saka if he'd got on the end of it. That's why Saka was very frustrated. I could see his arms flaying in the air. But you know what he reminds me of? Number one, I feel like he's become a bit predictable with what he does, and he kind of reminds me. It's not as bad, but he kind of reminds me of what Pepe was on the right. Very predictable. The defenders kind of know. Pepe used to do the same. He'd do his tricks, beat the first or second, and then he'd try and beat the third, and he'd get caught out. And I just feel that it's a shame with Martinelli because he has got the potential to be back to what he was and be frightening. And I don't know what's going on with him at the moment. I don't get it. Yeah, look, you can't underestimate his work rate, his defense. He was actually really good defensively yesterday. I thought, wow. But we've got the defense. We don't need him with defense. Go and score goals.
No.
You're not paid to defend, mate. Yeah, it's great that you're doing it and helping out the defenders, but go up the other end and put the ball in the net a couple of times, or give another player a chance to score. Yes, I'm being a little bit harsh. He did have that one chance that Havertz headed, and unfortunately it didn't find the net. But he needs to do more of that, Rich. And so many times he goes in, and you know what? I know what's going to happen. You just know already before it happens. Defender's going to catch him out, and that's exactly what's happening all game. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know whether it's going to redeem itself. I'm not sure. Let's see.
I mean, I suppose the one thing you have to say is that Mikel Arteta has shown a lot of patience with him because he keeps picking him. Nine times out of 10, he's in the team, isn't he? You know, and it's not like we haven't got any other options there. I mean, obviously Trossard has done a great job there when he's played, and now, of course, Raheem Sterling's come in. And I wouldn't necessarily say the left-hand side is where he played more on the right, didn't he, for City and for England and stuff like that. But he can obviously play there. And is that going to put maybe more pressure now? Are we going to see? Is that one of the reasons why Mikel Arteta was so keen to end up getting Raheem Sterling in when he realised he could get him because of that issue there in that position, and maybe Sterling is going to be the better option out of the two? I don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out. I mean, Sterling didn't really do much yesterday when he came on, particularly. He was. I mean, it wasn't really a game where he was ever going to really, because we were hanging on to a 1-0 lead, and he didn't really get a chance to get into the game. Jesus didn't either, did he? So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting how that plays out over the next maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 games, because we've got a lot of games to come. It's a heavy schedule. There's going to have to be rotation, and you imagine that Raheem Sterling is going to get to play a few games in the next few weeks, and it'd be interesting to see what impact he can make, because I've never been convinced by Raheem Sterling. He's had a great career in terms of what he's won, the number of goals that he's scored, but I've never been convinced about him when he played for England, and I never really rated him at Liverpool or Man City. I thought he at Man City in particular, you could see the system suited him, and he got himself in the right positions to score 50 tap-ins a season. But I wasn't overly impressed with his overall play. Same with Liverpool. He's not very good at one-on-ones with a goalkeeper. He's not a good finisher. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Mikel Arteta seemed to get more out of him when he was at Man City with him. So hopefully that's a good sign. But I mean, Martinelli has got to step up now, because he's got real competition. Trossard's competition for him. I'm surprised Trossard hasn't got more game time with the way Martinelli's playing. And now Sterling as well, we know Mikel Arteta rates Raheem Sterling, and he's going to look at any opportunity to get him in the team, isn't he? I think so. I think Martinelli's got some work to do, and he could be in trouble in terms of his place in the teams, and is one of the biggest ones that's at risk now, isn't he, out of the starting 11 for me. But yeah, as you said, let's see what happens, because we know he's a talented player, Martinelli. We know he is. He's got pretty much everything that you need to be a success. He's got pace, he's got trickery, he can score goals. He scored 17 goals the other season, didn't he? 15, 17 goals, whatever it was, about 2 seasons ago. But since then, it's just gone, hasn't it? His confidence has gone when he gets in that final third, and he's making the wrong choices. Like you said yesterday, he had to square that ball. He had to square it, and maybe it's in his mind. I haven't scored enough goals. I need a goal. I'm going to try. And he lacked conviction in the shot. But I don't know. Let's see how that plays out over the next few weeks, because I think we're going to see some changes in that position going forward now, and maybe Martinelli's days might be numbered in the team, not necessarily at the club, but in the team on a regular basis, I think, going forward. But we'll see. He can only get better, can't he? Greg's with us in the chat. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Terry as well, of course. Terry's with us. Well, why would he not be? He's always with us, isn't he? Terry says there. Can we all be honest tonight? I've never liked Spurs. In fact, I hate them. So can we please not say anything nice about them? Why would we say anything nice about them? There's nothing nice to say, is it? Let's be honest. It's, it's what it is, isn't it? Greg says, I second that. Yeah, of course. I think we all do. Royston's with us. He says, a very, very happy Gooner indeed. I think all Gooners are happy today and yesterday. It's been a good few hours, hasn't it, to be an Arsenal fan. Greg says, besides a good goalkeeper, they also have a good striker. I'm talking about teams that win the league. You mentioned before about having a good goalkeeper. Yeah, of course. You have to have both. Indeed, and obviously that's where Man City have maybe been slightly ahead of us the last couple of years for that reason, but who knows, maybe this season might be different. Royston says, this win shows we have a squad capable of challenging for the league title, although I still wish we had a top striker besides Havertz. Yeah, we all do that, my friend. We all feel the same, I'm sure. Royston says, I was very impressed with Timber. Yeah, when he's 100% fit, you can see he fits into our defence unit. But yeah, he does. Brilliant. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be fantastic. He is going to be fantastic. I say, if it means Zinchenko is sitting on that bench, then that is absolutely fine. Terry says, Timber and cauliflower are the future. Get rid of Jesus, Zinchenko, White, and 29. Well, I think Jesus, Zinchenko, and Ben White, I would say, yes, I agree with you to a certain degree. I mean, Ben White is all right, but we need better. The other two, absolutely get rid. I'm 100% agree with you. Havertz, I'm prepared to. I don't mind Havertz, actually. I think he's settled in now, and you can see his role in the team and stuff like that. And the fact that Mikel Arteta yesterday, I think we'll talk about the team, actually, because there was a little bit of talk, wasn't there, that Mikel Arteta was going to drop Havertz into the midfield, obviously with Rice and with Ødegaard out. And I'm thinking, please don't do that because it's never worked. And he's insisted on doing it. And he learned the lesson. Okay, he put Trossard in there. Again, not necessarily the best position for Trossard. And he had an up and down game overall, didn't he? But at least he realises now that Havertz, if you're going to play Havertz, you've got to play him in that position as the sort of false nine, if you want to call it that, or the number 9, centre forward, whatever it is. And that is Havertz. And you can see that for all Havertz is faults, and he's not a 25 goal a season striker. He's not that player, but he brings a lot to the team, and he's important for the way that we play. And you could see that yesterday. Although he didn't have a great game, he was important to the result in the end because he was an important part of that team unit. And was you surprised at the lineup? I mean, I know we didn't have a lot of options as it turned out because we had a bunch of kids on the bench, but was you surprised at when you saw the team lineup? Was you surprised, or was it kind of what you thought would probably? It's only really that midfield position that was the issue, wasn't it?
Yes and no. I know you'd probably go, no, there's no way he would have done that. But I really thought he might give Ethan a go from the start. I really did. I think I really like the kid. At the end of the day, Saka had to start somewhere. Emil Smith-Rowe, when he first came on, had to start somewhere. However, and that was because of injuries. So this was similar. Odegaard's injured. We've got no Fabio. We've got no ESR. I think I really wanted Ethan to start, and I was kind of thinking I wouldn't have been surprised if Sterling had started as well, but obviously that didn't happen. But apart from that, no, I wasn't surprised. But yeah, you can't play Havertz in the 8. It doesn't work. I mean, he's not bad in the 8, but he's much better as the false 9 for me, and it works better for the team. But just sorry, I'm probably going ahead of myself. Ethan has to play this season. Rich, he has to play. That kid has got so much talent. It's frightening. It's almost filthy because he has got so much talent. Even yesterday, for the small cameo he made, he did that brilliant piece of skill. All right, it led to Havertz being offside, but the skill beforehand, it just showed that. You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of a young Jack Wilshere. He's kind of very similar kind of play. He's not scared. I think he's fearless to go for. He's kind of got no fear running at defenders. I think he's got trickery. There's something about him that I think is going to be massive for our club. But none of that's going to happen, and none of that's going to transpire if he doesn't get minutes. And now we've got the Champions League. You were talking about changes and things. I think Sterling has been brought in to be part of that change and rotation. And I hope for please play Ethan. He's part of the senior squad now. You've got to play the kid. He's going to be an inspiration, I think. I really do believe that. I wasn't. Other than that, I wasn't surprised. I mean, the defense speaks itself, as you know. The midfield, as I said, I would have thought maybe Ethan would play, but I wasn't surprised that Jorginho was going to start. And by the way, he didn't have a bad game. The guy hasn't played any minutes at all. I don't even think internationally he has not played.
No,
And he came in and he done a good job. You know, he's a really lovely player to have. You know, Havertz and Jorginho are like almost the two exceptions, because normally with the people we've got from Chelsea have been absolute trash, in my opinion, in the past. And we've actually got two good players in them, and hopefully Sterling might be the third. Who knows? Who knows? We seem to be they seem to be our feeder club at the moment.
Well, I mean, Man City, we used to feed Man City, didn't we, at one time? And now Chelsea are feeding us.
Feeding us.
So,
can I just say, Trossard, I've noticed something about him, and I think a lot of people have. Again, him and Martinelli, I love them both. I really think they're great players, but I still think Trossard is better when he comes on as a sub. He just has such a great impact. When he comes on as a sub, he seems to change the game slightly, and he gives something new, which the defenders maybe can't cope with. And he always does something as a substitute. When he starts a game, I don't think he's as effective. I could be wrong in my thinking of that, but I just feel that he's better coming on as a sub. But other than that, no, I wasn't surprised with any of this. I mean, Saka, Saka's going to play. He walked off injured. He's still going to play it. I would rest him against Atalanta. I would actually rest him, but no, he'll play. He will.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. And it was only really that one position that was Ethan going to play? I was a little bit surprised it was Trossard playing in that position. Not that he can't play there, and I thought he did okay. But yeah, I mean, maybe you've got a good point there, because a lot of he scored 17 goals last season, Trossard, and I can't remember how many of them were when he'd come off the bench, but the majority of them were probably at least 10, 11 of them were probably coming off the bench and scoring, as he did, of course, against Aston Villa two or 3 weeks ago. He came off the bench and scored, didn't he? So maybe that's true. Maybe he's a little bit like a super sub kind of player, which is a very useful weapon to have, but is he going to be happy with that role? Does he not want to be starting? And you'd imagine he's going to expect to start more games and play more games. So he's not going to be happy with that, is he? But obviously, from our perspective, it's a useful thing to have, because having an impact substitute is so important in the game these days, because we can make 5 substitutions. Players coming off the bench can make a massive impact in the game, and if you've got a player who can consistently do that, then that is not every club's got that. You saw Tottenham's bench yesterday; they were lacking real quality. I mean, we were realistically looking at all the kids we had, but yeah, I mean, it is a great asset to have. But yeah, I think we'd all like to see Trossard getting more minutes because of how exciting he is to watch. But maybe his unpredictability is his downfall, because Mikel Arteta is very structured in where he wants his players to be, and maybe that's a little bit what Martinelli's struggled with slightly. He feels a little bit caged, maybe, and he wants to let go and let himself go a bit more, and he maybe doesn't feel he's allowed to. And maybe Trossard is that sort of player that will do something unpredictable, but maybe the manager isn't always wanting him to do that. And maybe that's why he's coming on in games at the right time, when his unpredictability is going to have a bigger impact than if he starts a game and it disrupts the pattern of the team, maybe.
Yeah, didn't Martinelli, was it Martinelli that said that when he was on tour with Brazil once?
Yeah,
and he made a comment about that he wants to be a bit more freer. And
nice. Well, no, what he said was, I know it's a translation, but it was basically said that he had said something about, he was asked about playing for Brazil, and so it's nice to have a bit more freedom, or some words to that effect. And it's okay, that's a translation. Maybe he didn't really say that. Maybe it was taken wrongly, or whatever it is. But that wouldn't surprise me, because I do feel as though, you can see when he's constantly covering in the left back position, that's not where Martinelli really wants to be. He wants to be up the other end of the pitch. And Aubameyang had a similar issue, didn't he? That he was asked to do that kind of a job, and he wasn't having it. He was saying, I score 30 goals a season, mate. I'm going up that end of the pitch. Don't expect me to defend, because I can't do it. Whereas Martinelli, he's putting the work in. He's doing what he's told to do, but it's not maybe suiting his game, is it? And maybe that is the issue. But yeah, I mean, I think Trossard's got a similar issue in a different way. His unpredictability is a useful weapon, but maybe it's not something the manager wants to see on the pitch from the start of a game regularly, because of how imbalanced maybe he feels it makes us. So I don't know. It's good to have players of that quality in the squad, but Trossard wants to be playing more minutes. Of course he does. His reaction at Aston Villa, wasn't it, when he scored and he didn't look exactly happy. You know, he'd come off the bench, scored his first touch basically, and he was like, I don't know, his
if
impression.
looks could kill, Rich. If looks could kill.
Exactly, yeah. And it was like, okay, that's not ideal. What you want to see there, your player come off the bench and they score, you want them to be delighted that they've come on and made the impact. Whereas he was more like, well, actually, this is why I should be starting. That was almost his demeanour, wasn't it? Which fair enough, I suppose. But let's see how that works out, because you know, I do think that we're going to have to use our squad a lot more this season, in particular with the extra Champions League games. So everybody's going to get maybe more game time than they did last season and the season before, when we had less games, maybe, especially if we're going to do better in the domestic cups, which I hope we are. There's going to be even more games. So let's see how that works out. We've got Russ with us. How you doing, Russ? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Terry says, I don't think Arteta changed it through ability. I don't think he had much choice. He was, of course he was forced into it, because we've got players missing. He would have picked Odegaard and Rice had they been fit. Of course, and available. Of course he would. We know that. But at the end of the day, he picked a team and got a result. So he's got to get credit for that, even if it was not his first idea, not the first team he would have chosen had he given that option. So, but anyway, let's just enjoy it for what it was. Terry says Arteta has turned Martinelli into another Aubameyang. Well, yeah, I just mentioned the comparison there. I think Martinelli's adapting slightly better than Aubameyang did to it, but it's still not getting the best out of him, is it? Terry says, let's be honest, Saka was rubbish yesterday. Well, he hasn't been great all season, has he? I wouldn't say he was rubbish. He was all right. He wasn't great. Along with many of the others, to be fair. No one, apart from the defenders, none of the midfield or the attack played particularly well, did they, yesterday? Let's be honest, they didn't. It wasn't their sort of a game, because we were under a lot of pressure in terms of possession. So the defence had the chance to shine, and they didn't really get. I mean, Saka didn't really get. In the second half, I think we had played 60, 65 minutes until we took the corner for the goal. He hadn't even had a touch of the ball in the second half. He just wasn't getting. That's not his fault, you know. The way we played wasn't going to be his day. And that's just, I mean, Havertz as well didn't see much of the ball, did he? You know, it's just the way the game played out. I don't blame Saka necessarily, but he hasn't been great all season. It's not just yesterday. He's not been at his best, has he? We know that. But I think rubbish is a little bit harsh. But anyway, Russ says, I'd give Martinelli the season. After that, if he doesn't get back to some sort of good level, I'd sell. Yeah, and I do think that's probably. I think this is his season. He's got to get that place nailed down in the team. He's got to be more consistent. And yeah, I agree. If he can't do it this season, he's not a kid anymore, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's at the age now where he should be getting towards his top level. And if he's not going to be able to do it, whether it's down to himself, whether it's down to the shape of the team and the role he's got to play, whatever it is, if he can't get to that level, I agree. Sell him while we can still get good money for him, while he's on a contract and he's a still youngish player that we can sell on. I would agree, but don't sell him to a Premier League team, because he'll come back and probably, maybe sell him abroad. That'd be okay, wouldn't it? Terry says, I agree, Raz. I'd give Nelly a few games down the middle. It's an option, isn't it? Without an actual proper centre forward, if you like, it is an option. I wouldn't necessarily be against that. I'm not sure what his finishing's like. Is his finishing good enough? I don't know. Maybe given the chance, he might. Russ says Martinelli's decision making is below average. Yeah, it's become below average. I don't know if it always used to be. That never seemed to be much of an issue, but it's become an issue in the last couple of years, definitely. There you go. Greg says, we need another Alan Smith in the box. Yeah, we do, don't we? Or Ian Wright, a player like that, don't we? A finisher, that's what we need. I wouldn't say Alan Smith was necessarily a good finisher. He was just there, wasn't he? And we put the balls in the right area for him to be effective. And he scored a lot of headers, and he was. I mean, he's a great footballer, but it's me. He wasn't like a natural finisher in the Ian Wright type sense, was he? He was a great player, but and we played to his strengths. And that was what worked. And that was why he got golden boots or whatever. Russ says, Sterling for me was decent in an England shirt. I don't know. I found him quite frustrating, if I'm honest. But maybe that's just because it was him and I never really liked him. So maybe when I watched him for England, I'd maybe be overly critical of him, maybe more so than other players. Perhaps, I don't know. I've just never really been convinced by him in any team he's played in, really. He's a good player. Is he a top level player? I don't think he is. But you'd say what he's won, the goals he scored, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he is a top player. I don't know. Terry says Trossard is off in January or in the summer. Well, I don't know. I don't know how unhappy he is. Sometimes he doesn't look happy, but I mean, he obviously doesn't get much sleep, does he? Looking at the bags under his eyes, so maybe he's just tired. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's not unhappy. He's just tired.
My mum calls him a zombie. She goes, God, my mum's watching The Walking Dead. She goes, why does he look like that? I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
She goes, he reminds me a bit like Ozil, because I think she used to, because of Ozil's big googly eyes. And
I suppose, he always looks like he needs sleep, doesn't he? You always look at him and think, Trossard, come to bed, mate. Go and have a little lie down for 10 minutes. You know, don't be playing football. And Russ says, I agree, Terry. This season it's a straight shootout between Trossard and Sterling. I think Martinelli's got to be in the mixer as well, isn't he? Greg says Trossard is the Perry Groves role. That seems to be it, actually. Yeah, that's a good comparison, actually. They're quite similar in the impact that they made from the bench. Obviously, totally different players, and I'm sure I think even Perry would admit himself that I think Trossard's on a different level. But we all love Perry Groves, and yeah, he was a great substitute, wasn't he? Absolutely. Terry says, I agree, Rush. Trossard doesn't look happy. He doesn't look happy, no, but I say he's just tired. Russ says, I don't think Trossard is a 90-minute man. He's an impact sub. Yeah, that's exactly what obviously Neil said before, and maybe that is it. And maybe he needs to accept that. We need to accept that. If he wants to play for Arsenal and be successful, he's going to have to accept that role, maybe. Or maybe he needs to do more to prove that he's not just that impact player, that he can have an impact in a full 90 minutes. But you're right, so far that doesn't seem to have happened, does it, very often? Let's be honest. It doesn't. So, but let's see how that works out. It's good that we've got those options, though, isn't it? Now we've got Sterling, Trossard, Martinelli, sort of at the moment seems fighting over that one position on that left-hand side, because
Rich, he's going to get games. He's going to get games.
Yeah.
Look how many we're going to be playing 3 games a week roughly for the next 3-4 months. It's going to be crazy. We can't keep the same 11. It's going to have to be rotated. And I think there are going to be games where he's going to have to start anyway by default, because we can't play the same starting 11 for the Champions League. We've got 3 games a week. We've got Prem, then we've got the cups, domestic cups will be starting. It can't happen. So he's going to get games. I think they all are. And that's the reason we've got a bit more depth now. We have to have it. So I don't think that's a problem, actually.
No, it shouldn't be. Well, it's not a problem for us. Is it a problem for him if he's starting 1 every 3 games? That's what you got to ask yourself. I mean, I'm happy that we've got those options, and you're right, we're going to need them. Absolutely, we are. And I'm sure Mikel Arteta has had this conversation with all of the players and said, we've got a long season, we've got a lot of games. If we're going to be successful, we need the whole squad, and we need, you need to understand that you're going to get your minutes on the pitch. You may not always get as many as you want, but everybody's going to be used. And as long as the players buy into that, which they seem to be, majority of them seem to be, Trossard's the only one that you're looking at and thinking, is he happy? He doesn't look happy. And is he the one that's maybe going to, and I know what Arteta's like, any player that isn't happy, he'll get rid of, because he doesn't want that impact on the rest of the squad. So anybody who even expresses any kind of unhappiness isn't going to hang around long, because he won't want that to rub off on anybody else. And he won't want that player to have an influence on any of the other players. So Trossard needs to be careful. If he is unhappy, he needs to either speak to the manager directly or hide it and not express it to the other players. Otherwise, his days will be numbered anyway, and he may well be off in January or in the summer if that's the case. But I want Trossard to do well, because I like him. I think he's a very good player. I think he's an exciting player to watch. He's scored some fantastic goals, some important goals as well, as we saw against Aston Villa recently. And yeah, let's hope that he can find a role in the squad and the team that makes him happy and it works, because I think we all want Trossard to do well, because he's a great player. We love him. So yeah, let's see how that works out. But of course, as we mentioned there, lots and lots of games this season, more games than ever. And starting, of course, it's Champions League, so it's not on a Monday night. They don't play Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah, that's fine. But no, we're not playing Tuesday or Wednesday this week. Now, of course, this was always going to be the problem or the issue when they've increased the Champions League to this many games that there is when do you play them all? Because they've all got to be on telly, so they've got to spread it out pretty much over the whole week. So, we spent a lot of years in the Europa League playing on a Thursday night saying we want to play on a Tuesday and a Wednesday. That's because that's the Champions League. And now we're in the Champions League, apparently, and we're playing on a Thursday again. So brilliant. So that didn't work out well, did it? And to me, this isn't the Champions League. This is the European Super League that everybody kicked off about 2 or 3 years ago when they put the idea forward. They've actually brought it in and just called it something else. And it's going to evolve from this, and it's going to become a European Super League if it isn't already. I mean, the whole structure of it's ridiculous, but it's where the money is. You've got to be in it. That's the only way you can really grow as a club and be successful, is to have that money from the Champions League. We need to be in it, but it's become even more difficult to win now. We've never won it when it was a bit easier to win, so the chances of us winning it now, it's even more difficult with more games. It seems a little bit less likely, but who knows? Ultimately, once you get through the group, it's a knockout cup competition, and on our day, we're capable of beating anybody because we don't concede goals. So, we've got a chance, I suppose. But it all starts on Thursday or in Italy against Atalanta, who aren't one of the top teams in Italy. They did win the Europa League last season, though. So of course, they beat the only team to beat Bayer Leverkusen in all competitions last season when they beat them in the final. So they've got something about them. Absolutely, they have. They've had a great start to the season. But I don't know. I don't know too much about them other than I watched a couple of games in the Europa League last season, which they won. I watched the final because I was hoping Xhaka was going to win it. But I think they're a team that could cause us problems on Thursday. And I don't think we should necessarily take it lightly and make 11 changes to the team, because I think we'll lose. And you don't want to start your Champions League, even though there's a lot more games to play and you've got more time to turn it around. You don't really want to start with a loss, do you? I mean, what would you look at in terms of the team selection for this game? Because we've got a few players out anyway, which doesn't help. We've got a lot of young players itching to get some minutes. How many changes do you think we're going to make? Or will he stick largely to the team that played on Sunday?
We can't stick to the team we played. We can't, because we got Man City at the weekend. And I'm not saying we show the Champions League any less respect, because you're right. We need to start with a win. Because at the end of the day, for me, winning is infectious and there's momentum. And we need that momentum. We need another win. We need another win on the bounce before we face, the juggernauts. So, and we can't take anyone for granted. We can't take anyone lightly. It's a Champions League competition. And yeah, I don't know much about them, but I know that they've won the Europa Cup. I know that the manager isn't a bad manager. And he's doing quite well with them. So, we can't take them for granted at all. And I don't think we should have a different 11 completely, but I think there should be at least, to give some of the players a rest, 4 or 5 changes. For example, Timber should be rested. And if Rico isn't fit, I think keep bringing Kiwi on. I don't see why not. Just bring him in. We've got him. Let's use him. I don't know if Tommy's fit yet. I don't think he is. So, we are a little bit short on that side. And obviously, Zini now is injured again, for goodness sake. So Kiwi was the only option. I knew that was going to come, but Kiwior for me is an option. I don't even know about, if we would risk both Saliba and Gabriel, but I reckon he will. I think he will play them both. Ben White will probably stay as he is. Midfield, we've got to see. I'm going for Ethan. I know I've been waxing lyrical about him earlier in the pod. I'm still sticking with that. Start him, please. Play him. I think he'll really benefit from the experience, and I think he'll even be positive for us. So bring him in. Saka's going to play. I don't care what anyone says. He'll play. He can come on with a Zimmer frame. He'll still blooming play. I know that kid. So he'll start. And I think there'll be 1 or 2 of Jorginho and Partey again. I can't see them. I'll be surprised if we both see them again. I will. It might happen. I don't know. But Rice is back, isn't he? So Rice will come in. I think it'll be Rice, Partey, and maybe Ethan for me. That's what I'm going with for the midfield. And I'm actually going to go with Jesus and Sterling. Sterling on the left.
And I'll both start.
I give Havertz a rest as well, because Havertz has been playing pretty much non-stop football. So give Havertz a rest, and he can come off on the bench if we need him. So that's me, but I'm going a bit left field with it. So I think maybe not necessarily those personnel, but I think at least 4 or 5 changes, Rich, because it would be too much if we played pretty much the same team. If he does that, I'll be pretty cross. But at the same time, I understand that we do need to start with a win there as well. So that's how I see it.
It is a tough one, because obviously, we have got a few of the squad players. Obviously, Marino's out. Calafiore will probably still be out. Obviously, we know Martin Odegaard's going to be out. Yes, Rice is back. So he would we throw him straight back in for this one or save him for Sunday? I would probably play him. Actually, I would probably play him in this one. And yeah, at least we've got the options in attack, haven't we? I think Sterling might well start this game. Jesus potentially might well do as well. I'd expect Saka to play because Saka plays every single game unless he's literally can't stand up. So you'd imagine he'll play. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he'll change Saliba or Gabriel because who else can play there anyway for a start off? I mean, that's the first question you got to ask. Yeah, Ben White can drop in as a centre half, I suppose. Kirior obviously can play as a centre half as well in the Gabriel kind of left-sided role maybe, but I think the drop-off in levels when those two don't play is astonishing because it's going to be difficult anyway, even if we sign players to play there because of how good those two are. But those two can't play every single match across every single competition. They can't. They just can't do it. We can't take that risk because then one or both will end up getting an injury and then we're in big trouble. So it's a tough one for Mikel Arteta actually, because you don't want to change them because it's going to leave us vulnerable. But if we do change them, then if we don't change them, sorry, they're going to risk getting injuries later on in the season. They keep playing, so it's a tough one, isn't it? But that's what he gets paid big money for. So let him make those choices, and hopefully he makes the right choice that we get the right result. That's what it's about ultimately, is managing your squad so that you can get the right results in as many games as possible, and that's how you're successful, isn't it? It's not like the old days when Aston Villa won the league using 14 players in the season. It's not going to happen. You need your squad if you're going to be successful, and that's the one criticism that you can still maybe put against Mikel Arteta in the last couple of years. He hasn't used the squad players enough. And this summer, he's got rid of most of them because he knew he wasn't going to use them. Smith Rowe, Nelson, Fabio Vieira, Lokonga before that, and, one or two others he's got rid of because they wasn't going to get the game time. And they wasn't going to get the game time now, even though we're short of numbers at the moment. So, yeah, that's what the squad's for. Let's use it. I agree. I would probably make 4 or 5 changes just because we've got the squad. So let's use them. Let's change the attacking lineup because we've got the players to do it. Bring Rice back in. Like you said, maybe Kirior at left back if Zinchenko's not fit. Tomiyasu. So Ben White's probably going to have to play because we don't really have any other options at right back, I suppose, do we? Generally. So that's another weak area of the squad that needs to be addressed in January. But yeah, I would make 4 or 5 changes actually. Change the goalkeeper, maybe give Neto a game. Why not? See what he can do. He's all right. Maybe stick him in and stuff like that.
Shout, actually. Yeah, that's a good shout. I forgot about Neto. You can see what he's because he's not a bad keeper, is he? So he's got the experience.
Yeah, he's experienced, and we brought him in for a reason. So let's use him. Let's use the squad.
That might be interesting. I'll look out for that one. Yeah.
I wouldn't be bothered if he played. It'd be interesting to see what he can do actually, because he was all right when he was it Bournemouth, wasn't he? He was playing for before, so let's see. Michael's over said, "Good to see you." He says, "Evening, gents. Hello, all in the chat." He says, "Atalanta are dangerous. They slapped Liverpool at Anfield. Actually, yeah, they did. I remember that now. You're right. That was in the quarter semi-final, wasn't it? I think." And Lookman will want to be out for show after being linked in the summer. Yeah, and of course he scored a hat trick in the final, didn't he, as well against Leverkusen? So yeah, to be honest with you, they've got a few players that's got a Premier League experience. Of course, Said Kolasinac as well. Of course, who played for us for quite a while. He pretty much plays every game for them. He's a left back that we could maybe have done with in a game like this, I suppose, but as a rotational kind of player. So, he'll have a point to prove, I'm sure, as well, having got kicked out by Arteta. So, they've got one. I say they've got that guy, who played for West Ham up front a couple of years ago, German striker. He didn't really get much game time at West Ham. He plays for them as well. So they've got one or two. And they've got a guy, the defender from Everton they bought, didn't they? Is it a Mason Holgate or something? I think he plays for them as well. So, they've got some Premier League players in there. So I think again, it will be a tough game. I'm not taking them for granted at all. But, away from home, your first game in Europe, you don't want to lose, do you? So we need to pick a team that can get a result while also managing the squad because of what we've got coming up at the weekend as well. So it is a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. Terry says, how many cups do you think Arteta will sacrifice this season to finish in the top 4? I'm guessing all 3. Well, I think this season is the one where, I don't know, I don't think he can afford to just throw the cups away. The 2 domestic cups, even though you say, "Oh, well, the League Cups don't matter, no one's bothered about that," but if you can't win anything else, give yourself a chance to win something. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't guarantee we're going to win the Premier League. We certainly can't guarantee we're going to win the Champions League. So, you can't guarantee win anything. So give yourself the chance to keep yourself in all these competitions as long as you can, because you never know. And I think that's the one thing that Arsene Wenger did, didn't he? When it came to the FA Cup, he obviously the top four was the priority. We know that, but he kept going in the FA Cup as long as he could every year, didn't he? And he managed the team in that competition well, and he won it a few times at the end. And there's no reason why Mikel Arteta can't do it. Yeah, there's no reason why Mikel Arteta can't do that as well. There's no reason why we can't be competitive in the league title race and also stay in the FA Cup and have a run in that. There's no reason why we can't. We've got a squad, we've got players to do it and go well in the Champions League as well. We should be able to do it. I'm not saying we can win them all. No, I don't think we've got enough depth. I don't think.
Rich, in my opinion, he has to win something this season. He has to, because I think it's so important. I keep saying it, and I might sound like a parrot, but it's so important for the players to see a reward at the end of a hard season, hard-working season. They've got to see it, something tangible. They've got to feel a winner's medal, be able to hold a trophy on the pitch and celebrate with the fans. They have to have something tangible to say, look, the hard work has finally paid off. Arteta was right. He saw a vision, and look, we've got it. And if it ends up being the League Cup, so be it. It's just got to be something. Of course, you and me, we love the FA Cup. We got a romance with it ourselves. So hopefully it will be that one. But we need to win something. If it's not going to be the league or the Champions League, we have to win something. And if we don't, then even I'm going to think, well, all right, you're doing what you're doing, but we still not won anything. All right, he won that first one in his inaugural season, fair enough, but it was COVID situation. It was slightly different, and he came in sort of halfway. Isn't it? It wasn't really his team that he won it with. Now it's pretty much his team. I think it is pretty much now his team, isn't it? I don't think there's anyone left from the Wenger era, is there? I don't think there is now. I think, was it Eddie and Nelson the last two? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and obviously Saka played under
Emery. Of course.
But
yes.
He's Martinelli as well, I suppose. Martinelli was here, wasn't he, just before?
Yeah.
I think they're the only two left now in the first team squad. So
So it's his team. He needs to get something. Go for the League Cup then. Just do something, and don't squander a chance and place, a completely, inexperienced team against one of the teams because it's just the League Cup. Give it a go. City do it. City are specialists in the League Cup, for goodness sake. They don't debunk it, or they don't think it's a small cup. They want to win it every season.
Well, the two clubs that's won the League Cup the most in recent years are Chelsea and Man City, and they're also the two clubs that's done well in Europe. They've won Premier Leagues, so yes, okay, you can say the way that they've gone about building their squad is maybe one of the reasons for that, but there's no excuse now for us not to take the cup seriously, all of them, and try to stay in. You can't guarantee you're gonna win. Anything can happen in a knockout game, but at least don't throw them away in the manner that we have done in the last 3 or 4 seasons. We just lost games we shouldn't have lost. We've made ridiculous team selections in those FA Cup games in particular, and it's like, come on, I agree. This season, and you're right, the players in this squad, no matter how much they enjoy playing in this team and this, that, and the other, and you can see that most of them do, coming second in the league isn't what they're going to remember when they retire. They're going to remember those moments when they've won a trophy. Declan Rice is going to remember lifting that European trophy for West Ham much more than he'll remember finishing second in the league for Arsenal. And players need that. The top players demand it, but they should do. They should demand, I want a trophy at the end of that season. I want a medal. And if they're not going to get it playing for Arsenal, coming second every year is not enough. They'll go elsewhere to fulfil that dream. They will. They'll have to. And that's not going to, and I'll tell you, for all the improvements that he's made and how far he took the club forward in the last 2 or 3 seasons, unless he can get that, you're right, unless he can get us over the line in something, then the players will start to question it all.
That's the worry. That's right. If we lose someone like, and I can see someone like Saliba, because he comes across as very ambitious, and he'll be thinking, all right, this is a great place to be. I'm no doubt that's probably a great place to be at, but I'm not winning anything, and I need to be somewhere where, look, Henry, with all due, Henry's the king of Highbury, or whatever you want to call him, and he's a legend of the club, but he realised that I'm not going to win the Champions League with Arsenal, and he went to Barcelona and did it there. I think he knew it, and I think he's made a comment to that effect or thereabouts. and no one
Robin Van
begrudged him a bit.
Robin Van Persie as well knew he
No
weren't
one
going to win the
begrudged
Premier
him.
League at Arsenal. Yeah,
So
and I don't blame I never blamed Robin Van Persie for leaving Arsenal. Because you've got a short career as a player, and what you might think, even if you're a young player, it's a short career, and you can't throw away opportunities to win trophies just out of loyalty to a team that it doesn't match your ambition or hasn't got your ambition to win the trophies that you want to win as a player. Because I say that's what players are remembered by, aren't they? People say, what all the great players, but unless they can say, well, have they won the Champions League? Did they win Premier Leagues? How many Premier Leagues did that? Alan Shearer gets criticised constantly. The top goal scorer in the Premier League. We only won one Premier League trophy in your whole career. And it's almost like that's looked on badly. And that'll be all these Arsenal players in years to come. What trophies did you win? Oh, well, none. We played nice football. We came second 10 times in a row, but we didn't win anything. But that's fine. But no one's going to remember that. No one's going to look back on them and say they're great players.
But that's exactly right. You said earlier that Declan Rice is going to remember what he won in Europe, then coming second with Arsenal. But if you think about it, if he goes on and has kids and they have kids, he's going to sit there with his grandchild and say, I won the Euro Cup in Europe, or whatever the competition was. I don't remember. It wasn't the Europa, it was the other one, wasn't it? Conference, yeah. Right. So I won that. Look at Daddy in lifting the cup here and holding the cup. He's not going to say, oh, do you want to have a look at Daddy doing a walk around Emirates because we came second? There's a massive difference, isn't there?
Yeah.
So they need to have something tangible. They need to hold something and say, this is what we've done. Otherwise, if it doesn't happen at the end of the season, are some of these players going to think about renewing their contracts? I'm not so sure. And that's the worry, because now we've got something really solid here, I think, that can go on maybe to dominate for the next 4 or 5 seasons, maybe, because they're all still quite young. But we have to give them something to hold on to that dream and that ambition. And I think we need to win something this season. I think it's of paramount importance that we win something this season. And I'm not a trophy hunter, by the way.
No. I mean, you're absolutely right. And what would worry me actually more is if all these players did renew their contract because it's such a lovely environment, knowing they might not win anything. Because to me, that lacks the ambition. Alan Shearer took that criticism for joining Newcastle when he could have gone to Man United and won 50 million titles, and instead he went to Newcastle because it was his hometown club and he wanted to play for them. So, and I think that same criticism could be directed at some of these Arsenal players if that's what they do. They end up their career winning nothing, but they wanted to stay at Arsenal because it was nice and it was fun, and it was a great atmosphere, and they had a nice dog so they could stroke and all this, that, and the other at training and stuff. And that's all great. And yes, being happy at work's important, but if you're a professional sports person, winning trophies and winning medals and winning stuff is ultimately what matters, and that is, you've got to have that ambition to do that. And unless these players share that ambition, there's no point in them staying anyway. Because I want players in Arsenal that want to win trophies, not that want to play with their friends like you do in under sixes. You know what I mean? They want to be at Arsenal to win trophies. And how long do you give that? Do you give it 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons? If it goes beyond that, you've got to start to question it yourself. Am I going to win something with this team? As good as we are, am I going to win something after 4 years? Saka must be thinking that. He must be. He must be thinking that. Am I going to win something with his team? Can I achieve my ambitions? He wants to win stuff, Saka. He wants to win stuff with Arsenal. Of course he does. He's a howling boy. Of course he wants to. But it's going to get to a point where they're going to question it. They are. And you're right, William Saliba's another one. He's not going to hang around for another 3 years without winning a trophy. Absolutely no chance he will. He'll be off. As soon as an offer comes in from a club like Real Madrid or somebody, he's not going to hang around, is he? Of course not. You wouldn't blame him either. I wouldn't blame him, because it's a short career. You want to make the most of it, win as much as you can. Arteta's got to prove that now, not only to us as fans, he's got to prove it to the players. They might believe it for now. Are they going to still believe it another 2 or 3 years if we haven't won anything? I don't think they will. They'll all start to question it, and then they'll all start to say, hang on a minute, I don't think this is what is going to work for my career. He's got players in like Jorginho who have won stuff. He's got players in like Raheem Sterling who have won stuff. So they maybe think about it differently because they've got their trophies already. Yes, I'm not saying they don't want any more. Havertz has won the Champions League, for example, and that's good to have those players that have got that experience. But there's a lot of players in that Arsenal squad that haven't won anything. And then look at Kai Havertz. You've won a Champions League. I want one of them. I want one of them medals that you've got.
No, I I think that's good that we have got winners now, because we literally had no winners at
Yeah,
one point.
absolutely.
Now
I'm
even
on a point. Yeah, I agree.
even
Yeah,
Marino's come in, or Mikel Marino, whatever his name is, has come in, and he's come off the back of winning the. Well, he scored the goal, didn't he, to win the competition, the Euro
Well, no,
European
he
Championship.
scored for a quarter final, winning a quarter final.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he's got that experience, and although it's not a domestic competition, it's still a big, huge competition. So I think we've got that, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But so we've got to find a way, Rich. That is, if you said to me, have you got any concerns for the season? Of course, always the key injuries is always a concern, but more importantly, I think we have to win something this season. It's so important.
Yeah.
We can't go another year without winning, or another season without winning, because then we're looking at the 25-26 season, and it just goes on and on and on.
That'd be 5 seasons, Neil. That'd be 5 seasons in a row. And that's halfway to the Wenger 10. Oh, no, 9 years Wenger did. And this will be 5 years. So it's over halfway. Wow. That Wenger got so much criticism for halfway through that, for not winning stuff. And he had won stuff before. Arteta's not really won anything. Okay, yeah, the FA Cup, which, he obviously deserves credit for, but it wasn't his team, as we said. So
no, it wasn't his team.
Michael says Scamacca, he's the guy who plays for Atalanta that played for West Ham. Yeah, he never really did much at West Ham, but he's a dangerous player. So there you go. Oh, we visited that one here. And Terry says Arteta in love from his own mother. Oh, dear me. Michael says a question. He says, on that note, if City were to get historical points deductions and us, Liverpool and United, get retrospective titles, does that change the mindset of Saka and Saliba as they've won titles? Well, I would hope it wouldn't do. I would hope it would, because I certainly wouldn't look on those titles, the 2 titles that we'd get, and say, oh, yeah, we've won the league another 2 times. No, I would still look at it. We've won the league 13 times. I don't want that to happen. And I don't think it should happen. I don't think it will happen. Any points deduction should be in the future, not in the past, even though the offences occurred in the past. You can't rewrite history like that. You can't do it. It's just, it'll always be the way it is. And, I don't want that to happen. I wouldn't celebrate those titles. And I'm pretty sure any player that's got anything about them wouldn't celebrate those titles either, because they didn't actually win them. They were given them because of a ruling by a court or whatever it is. And I don't think that's, to me, no. I would hope not. That they might be happy. I don't know. I would hope they're not happy. I would hope that wouldn't fulfill their ambitions. Oh, well, I've got 2 Premier League titles now. I hope they wouldn't think that, oh, okay, well, it doesn't matter if we don't win another one because I've got 2. No, because you didn't win those 2. And I hope that's how they feel. I hope that's how they feel about it, because otherwise I would be really, really disappointed in their lack of ambition if they accepted that as it. We've done it now. No. And the same with Liverpool. I'm sure Liverpool, Man United, right? They've won loads and loads of league titles in their history, right? More than we have. They're not going to settle for a league title given to them because of that, are they? They're not going to be happy about that. They're not going to celebrate that and say, oh, another league title. No, we might. Some of our fans might, because they've never seen us win the league. But even then, I'm pretty sure nobody would be happy about that. Been given a title like that.
No, I wouldn't.
A title from 2 years ago that you couldn't even celebrate at the time because we didn't win it.
No,
and now we're going to be giving it retrospectively. No, I don't want that to happen. I don't want, if Man City, whatever punishment Man City get, it needs to be a punishment for the future, not for the past.
Yeah, let them struggle going forwards now because they brought it on.
Yeah,
They brought it themselves.
You can't change history like that.
No.
Even though if they cheated or they didn't cheat, they broke rules or they didn't break rules. Now it's irrelevant. You can't. It's like, like that. The guy in the Olympics, Carl, what was his name? The guy who failed the drugs test. He got a gold medal in the Olympics. Ben Johnson.
Johnson, yeah.
And Carl Lewis. His gold medal was given to Carl Lewis, who came second.
And then Link Christie got this.
Yeah. And Link Christie got the bronze when he'd come. It's like, no, I'm sorry, but you can't enjoy that because you didn't. Whether he cheated to win that race or not, or whatever it was, is not really the point. The point is, unless you finished first at that time or second or third in the Olympics because you get a medal for that, you can't celebrate that because someone got kicked out afterwards. I don't think. I wouldn't if it was me. I would not. I think
that's it's slightly different though, because that's like a one-off one. All right, I know there's heats before that, but that's literally a one-off race. Whereas this, and it lasts about 10 seconds, doesn't it? Blink of the eye, it's over. I'm not trying to. It's difficult to compare, but this is a whole season of games, 90 minutes each time throughout a whole season.
It is. I get what you're saying.
No, and I agree with you, Rich. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't. If now that all of a sudden they say, right, Arsenal won the league the last 2 years, I'm like, but we didn't really.
No,
we
no.
no, we didn't. You know, I'd love to say that we
No.
did, but we didn't. That's I mean, it just doesn't feel right. Punish City now going forward and let them suffer
Yeah,
now for the next 10 years. That's better. That's
exactly.
good.
Exactly.
Because then that will
Yeah.
set a precedent for any other clubs maybe wanting to go down the same route as them, saying, yeah, all right, you might bear the fruits now, but in a few years' time, you're going to be struggling. You might not even ever come out
Yeah.
of the lower divisions because you'll be completely messed up.
Exactly.
That's what I would
Yeah.
say. But
Yeah.
even
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
season, I wouldn't want it to happen. I don't want them to have a points distinction this season because you know
No.
what's going to happen. We'll end up winning the league, and everyone will go, "Well, it's only because they got." I wouldn't know. I want to do it on a level playing field, and I want to beat them fair and square, and then say, "Yes, we were better than you. Finally, we got the better of you." That's what I
Yeah.
want.
Like we did with Liverpool back in the 80s when we took the title off them. You know, all them years they won it, and we won it fair and square. You know, we beat them to a league title. We did it twice. And yeah, exactly. And you know, Man United, when we overcame them, when they were the best team ever, we managed to overcome them and all that kind of stuff. That means more. That's what it's about. It's not about being gifted something because the other team might have done something against some rules that no one decided. You know what I mean? They didn't. No one picked those rules. Their rules were decided by people that haven't really got much of a clue. So I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely, and I don't think that'll happen anyway because you can't do that because yeah, you're right. They need to be punished for the future, and that's what. Well, surely that'll be the only. If they get punished at all, that'll surely be the only outcome. Got to be the logical outcome. But yeah, if any of our, if that does happen, any of our players celebrate winning a league title, I'm sorry, you need to leave Arsenal. Quite honestly, and then if any fans celebrate, they want to go and get themselves a different team because that is not Arsenal. We have not won those leagues. We have not won them. We've been gifted them because of a ruling with nothing to do with football. Nothing to do with football. This is to do with finance and it's to do with stuff like that. It's not to do with football. Sport is on the field of play. And yes, if the players are cheating, like in that 100-meter instance I said before, if the players are taking drugs and cheated, then that's slightly different. I still wouldn't want to win the league like that, but that's slightly different. This is not to do with cheating on the pitch. This is to do with finances. Nothing to do with sport, to do with finances.
Well, I guess Liverpool players have been doing those inhalers, haven't they? So obviously,
well, they have, yeah, but they never got caught, though, did they? So it's fine. And it wasn't. They never beat us to the league when they were doing that, so I don't really care. But yeah, that is a different kind of thing, really, isn't it? If you're cheating to gain an advantage from your performance, that's the difference of if you're breaking financial fair play or financial regulations, which were made up by rich people in the first place. I don't know. I can't get my head around that. But yeah, so no, I would hope that they wouldn't say they won titles. Terry says Arsenal has a trophy cabinet like Harry Kane's, where we go, well, yeah, exactly. We haven't put much in it recently, have we? It's getting a bit dusty. Terry says Rice can tell his grandkids to wipe your hands across the mantelpiece, so that dust. They were just about playing for Arsenal under our say. Well, let's hope that that's not the case. Greg says, give the players a manager who's got ambition. Yeah, exactly. That's what you need. Russ says 3 away games in a week is a disgrace. Well, it's not. It's just the way it goes. Everyone has to do it sometimes. You know, we've done it before. Other teams have done it. You've got a squad to be able to do it. Michael says, agree. To be fair, I don't think they'd feel genuine about winning. So no, I would hope not, mate. I would hope they don't, because otherwise, that's not sport, is it? Absolutely not sport. Terry says 29-17, Jesus and Arteta are all winners of a trophy, but unless we get them out of our club, the rest of the players ain't winning nothing here. Well, yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe you're right. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Michael says we'd be on a 3 in a row now. Well, we would be on a 3 in a row, yeah, if we'd won them properly, but we haven't. So I'm not taking a 3 in a row, even if we did do that. We'd probably come second 3 times in a row, maybe, but that's not quite the same. Terry says the average living age in this country is 90, and to be honest, under this management, I really don't fancy my chance of us winning anything in my lifetime. Well, with 90, you got a bit of a wait yet, Terry. Come on, I'm sure we'll win time before you're 90, mate. I'm sure we will. I hope so. But anyway, you know, we're not far away. We know we're not far away, but being close, you might as well be a mile away, because it makes no difference if you're not there and you're not getting it over the line. To me, coming second isn't any better than okay, coming last and you get relegated. But do you know what I mean? The point is, if you don't come first, it doesn't matter where you come, really. in football, you have to come in the top four because of the financial rewards and this, that, and the other, and the prestige of the Champions League. But to me, if we're not going to come first, we might as well come fourth and then come second. It makes no difference. To me, it makes no difference coming second or fourth. The result's the same. You're in the Champions League and that's it. You haven't won the league and you're in the Champions League. It makes no difference if you come second or fourth. It makes no difference if you take Man City to the final game of the season and come second, or you finish fourth by winning your last game and sneaking in. It makes no difference. The result is the same. Ultimately, I don't really care. What I care about is finishing. If we can't finish top, then I don't care if we finish second. I really don't. I never have done. We finished second loads of times under Arsene Wenger. We finished second quite a few times. I don't really care about that.
I kind of agree with that, but then if you're second and it goes to the final game of the season, you've still got a chance of winning it. Whereas if you're going to be just coming in fourth, you haven't got any chance of winning it. If it goes to the final game of the season, that's what I'm saying. Like last season, yeah, all right, it was going to be pretty academic. It was academic that West Ham weren't going to beat City, but there's always, you never know with football. Jimmy Greaves, it's a funny old game. Something could have gone wrong for them, and even we struggled to win our final game last season. It was a bit of a struggle. That would have been funny, wouldn't it? If they did lose to West Ham and we lost.
We lost. That would have been
I still think that if you're taking it to the final game, then there is merit being there in second, because then you've still got a slight hope. But if you're in the fourth position, you ain't got any chance at all, have you? So, when it comes to,
I was meaning, I get that. I do get. I was meaning more like at the end of the season when you look back.
Oh, when you look back,
second, you come fourth,
there's no difference between second, third, and fourth are the same thing.
And people were trying to say, there was this big conversation last season, wasn't there, about Unai Emery, obviously because he came fourth, and Mikel Arteta came second, and you could look at that and say, well, obviously Mikel Arteta's better because he came second. But to me, they had the same season. They didn't win anything, and they both got in the Champions League. So to me, and Arteta's had longer to build his team. So technically, Unai Emery last season had a better season because he did it in his first full season. So I don't know. That you can look at it that way, or you could look at it the way that you said. We took it to the last game of the season. We had a chance up until the last 10 minutes of the season. We were in with a chance. So is that better? I don't know. At the time, it feels better, I suppose, but looking back on it ultimately, it doesn't.
Because at that time there's excitement. I remember when I heard that West Ham scored, and then there was that chant. I think did they score a second and then it was ruled out or something was going around the stadium.
Yeah, the goal disallowed it.
So you wouldn't have that excitement, because the whole stadium was going mental. It's like, oh my God, could this miracle actually happen? You're not going to get that in any other situation. So for that reason, at that being there at that moment in time, it's priceless, Rich. You know that as a fan. You know that emotion.
I suppose so, yeah.
That's what a lot of us support football,
I'll probably give you that. Maybe the season before, when it was all over, we came second and it was over with 3 games to go. That's almost pointless.
Yes,
maybe last season
was slightly different. Season before, you're right. Yes.
Correct. Maybe that's fair enough then. Actually, yeah. Okay. I'll. No, you're right. Okay, that's fair enough. I agree with that. Kind of down to so, my friend. Good to see you. Terry says we also spent 600 million more than Emery as well. But Arteta is well, yeah, we did. But anyway, let's see what happens going forward in the future, because it's what. Unai Emery, can he build on that? I mean, they've had a good start to the season. Can they build on that? And do we take that next step up and start winning these trophies? We'll have to see. I know we don't know too much about Atalanta, but we do need a score prediction, Neil, for Thursday. What are you thinking? Atalanta away?
I would take a win, just a win. I don't care how we do it. I think the defence will pretty much stay the same. Maybe, as I said, with the exception of Kiwi or possibly. So there isn't any excuse, unless, of course, the goalkeeper is changed. But I'm hoping that the defence do their job and we still keep a clean sheet. I'll go for a 2-0 actually to us. I know that sounds mad because Michael just highlighted that they're a dangerous team, but I don't know, maybe 2-0, solid 2-0 against that. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to go for it. You're going to laugh, but I'm going to say Sterling 2-0.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, maybe suited to that type of game. But I mean, Atlanta haven't had a great start to the season, but they have got good players. Obviously, they won a European trophy last season, so they know what it's about. I would take a draw actually away from home. Your first game against a team that's won a trophy last season. I'd say maybe 1-1. I think we'll make some changes. I think we haven't played brilliantly well yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, which won't be a bad result. I'll take that. It's all right, away from home in your first game in the group. So let's obviously a win would be better. Of course it would. Terry's gone 3-1 Atalanta. Terry's never even seen Atlanta play, and he's predicting they're going to win. Anyway, Michael says, I bet Trump wishes he had Saliba and Gabriel in the secret. So I bet he does, yeah, because he wouldn't. He'd be a lot more safer, wouldn't he, with those two in front of him? Definitely. But there you go. So, of course, after Atalanta, we have got just a little game to play on Sunday. Of course, it's going to be easy. We won. We have brilliant away form. Only 3 goals conceded all year. We're going to go to Man City, and of course, we're going to win because it's written in the stars, isn't it? We haven't won there for about 9 years, 10 years. What do you think, Neil? Obviously, it's too early to call it a title decider because it's only 5 games in, but it could be quite a big statement either way. If Man City win, it's a big lead already on us. If we win, what a statement that is this early in the season.
Wow.
Away from home, incredible. I mean, either way, there's going to be. It's not going to win or lose your title, but it's a big match, isn't it?
Massive match. I'm hoping we'll have we'll probably hopefully be back to full strength. Hopefully nothing goes wrong against Atlanta with regards to our players, and they're all okay and they're all fit and ready to start against City. And who knows, maybe I mean they said 3 weeks for Odegaard or 3 games he might miss. I can't remember what it was, but who knows? He might be ready to play against City. I don't think he should play for Atlanta even if he's fit, but keep him ready for City. Rice will hopefully be back, so we'll be back to most likely our full strength midfield. Hopefully the defense is still the same and there's no problems in Atlanta for them. I think we can match them like we did last season at home. We did. We managed to, and we got a drew with them, didn't we? Away. So I don't see why anything should be different. I think Haaland, he's scoring like a madman again, but he hasn't faced Saliba yet, Rich. And I think Saliba can keep him quiet. The 2 games that we played them last season, he had hardly any touches or anything, did he? I don't think he even had any joy in front of goals. So we've got the ability to keep him quiet. I'm going to be positive. I don't care. I'm going to be positive. We haven't beaten them at City since 2015. It's been 9 years. Right. I mean, stupid like that. It's high time we've done it. Look, it's the hardest game in the calendar. There is no question about it. Even if you look at the Champions League, unless we play Real Madrid in the final, that'll be difficult. But end of the day, domestically, it's the hardest game in the calendar. There is no question in my mind. But I think we went toe to toe with them last season. We got 4 points out of 6 against them last season. Let's do it. 1-0, a nice number, another 1-0. We'll get them. Yeah, and. Am I gonna go left field again? 1-0 is gonna be defender. I reckon it'll be a defender. I'm gonna say 1-0 Saliba. Come on.
Oh, another set piece goal from that'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think we're probably set up quite well to play City now at the minute. We're defensively really, really strong. Their strength obviously is their attack. We know that. Obviously, Haaland's got 9 goals already in the Premier League. Terry says, I'm guessing his 3rd hat-trick of the season's incoming. Well, I don't know about that. Greg's gone 1-1, obviously, for the Atalanta game, which is fair enough. Terry says, Arteta and Edu has made us too weak. Well, let's see. Defensively, we're not too weak. I think it's going to be... I think we're going to set up as we did against Tottenham, probably. Let City have quite a bit of the ball, deny them the space, defend as well as we can defend, and then look to try and get a counter-attack, a set piece, and nick it. And maybe Neil's right. Maybe that's what will happen again. Maybe can we do it 3 away games in a row? I don't know. We've done it twice against 2 good sides, difficult teams. Can we do it against this City team? I'm not sure. I think we'll have chances to score against them. Brentford showed the way, didn't they, at the weekend, where they caused them a few problems.
Well, first minute they scored. Yeah,
they did, and they could have scored a couple more.
Don't forget that I know they're at home, but they've got a tricky Champions League game, isn't it? They're playing Inter, aren't they? I think they are. I know they're playing on Wednesday. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to count for anything, but you never know. It might do. Don't know.
No, you never know. Having a Champions League game, it's always difficult, isn't it? Your next game after that, anyway, whoever you're playing. So, it's not any advantage really. Yes, okay, they're at home, we're away. They've got a day extra but that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not looking to make excuses. Like you said, City's the toughest game of the season away, and we haven't done particularly well there. The last season was the first time we got a point there for about 6-7 years in a row. We've just lost. So we've made an improvement there. Can we go the extra step and actually get a win there? I don't know. I'm not convinced we can. I'd love to think we can. I would love to think we win that 1-0 would be incredible. That would be, we enjoyed beating Tottenham 1-0. We imagine going to Man City and winning 1-0. Wow, that would be something absolutely special. I'm not quite convinced enough, even with Declan Rice back in the team. I don't know. I think we'll be solid defensively. I think it won't be an easy game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 0-0 again, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
I'll take that. I will take that all day.
I think we all would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we lose. Equally, I suppose, because it's Man City and they tend to find a way to win them type of games usually. But I don't know. I think we can get a result. I'm not sure we're good enough to win there. I'm not sure we've quite got enough about us to win there. We've not played well enough yet to make me believe we can go there and win. But I think we can get a draw. Whether it's 0-0, 1-1, I don't know. Haaland might well score because he hasn't got a great record against us, actually, has he? As it's turned out,
No.
He didn't score against us in 3 games last season. So
exactly.
Who knows? But yeah, we'll all take a draw. I'm sure he would. But yeah, imagine if Neil's right. Imagine if it's 1-0, Man City away. Wow, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that
something
just
be unbelievable?
Greg says Pep won't invite Arteta around for dinner if we beat them. No, he won't. Probably not. No, although it'll only be one day. They'll soon make up again, won't they? Because they're best buddies.
They're best mates.
They are best mates. But no, wow, wouldn't that be something incredible? Oh. I was thinking this today, actually. I don't know. Maybe it's just my brain running away with me a little bit, but it just seems strange, right? That the last 2 seasons in particular, Arsenal have emerged as the challengers to Man City, right? Mikel Arteta, Pep's best mate. We've got these charges coming up against Man City. Has it almost been like, have Arteta and Pep got experience? Pep's like, well, you're not going to be able to beat us, so we'll let you come second. But when it comes to make sure you throw a stupid game like last season, Aston Villa at home with a ridiculous team selection out of nowhere, and we lose that game. It's like, did him and Pep not say that? Oh, let us win the league. We'll win all our other games. You can win all your other games. Fine. Throw one stupid game away so that we still win the league. I don't know. It just seems like it's weird that
I can't believe that. No.
Well, I don't know. I just think him and Pep are too close. Him and Pep are too close to be. They're too close to be rivals in the way that Klopp and Pep are rivals.
They are. You're right. They are close, but I think Arteta's got a lot of pride. I don't think he would. No, I don't think so. I think Aston Villa were just better than us. They just,
they are better than us, obviously.
No. I mean, Aston Villa, the game we lost against Villa.
On the day they were, but I don't know. We did pick a strange team selection that day out of the blue that we hadn't done for ages, and suddenly we picked this weird team and we lose a game that had we won, we would have won the league.
But then why Aston Villa? Why that game? It could have been any of the games, couldn't it?
It could have been, yeah. It could have been. It could have been any game. I don't know why that game. Maybe they looked at it and thought, well, look at the rest of the fixtures. It would look dodgy if we lost at home to like Fulham or someone rubbish. At least losing to Aston Villa, who were a good team, wouldn't look as suspect, I suppose.
Rich, I can't believe that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to agree with that one with you. I don't think so. No, it's good. As close as they are, I just can't see that happening. No.
Terry says, teach Pep a lesson. Play Jesus and 17 and top it off with 29. Yeah, just play Sterling. Play all the ex-Man City players that Pep got rid of and then beat them at their ground and say, you should have kept all them players, shouldn't you? That'd be good, wouldn't it, actually? If we play all the ex-Man City players and we beat them.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
That would be quite funny, actually, wouldn't it? But I don't think that'll happen. I don't think they'll all play anyway, so for it to happen. But anyway, let's hope Neil's right, because that would be good, wouldn't it? I would quite enjoy that. A 1-0 win at Man City, we would love it. We would love it, and we've had a good few days, so why not dream a bit more? So there you go. Right, so that is the Arsenal review. Then we've beaten Tottenham. We've got a busy week. Of course, we've got a busy week. It's going to be a good week. We're gonna pick up some points here and there. We're going to do well, I'm sure. And then, it's going to be exciting stuff. There's lots coming up on the channel this week, actually, because the Arsenal women are playing Champions League on Wednesday. So I'll be here for that. Early kick-off 6 o'clock, so I'm going to have to rush home and sort it out. So I'll be here for that kick-off there against Hacken. obviously Thursday, the Atalanta game kicks off 8 o'clock, I think, a normal kickoff time, which is better. So we'll be here for that one. And of course, Sunday, there's 2 Arsenal Man City twice on Sunday. The women play at 12:30 at the Emirates, and then the men at 4:30 at the Etihad. Wow, what a Sunday that is. A double header, Arsenal Man City. Imagine beating them twice on the same day. That would be incredible, wouldn't it? We're going to do it as well. Neil's convinced me. We're going to do it twice on Sunday. It's going to be great. So make sure you join us for all of that. Please like, share, and subscribe, of course. Thank you to all you guys in the chat. Brilliant, as always. Good to see the regulars in there. Look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, of course, for the women's game. And a big week for the women, a big week for the men. What a time to be alive, eh? All these massive games coming up. Brilliant stuff there. We love it. And I'm going to play out with a different little theme tune. And this is mainly, especially for Neil, actually, because I know how much he likes it. So we will see you on Wednesday. Thank you very much, Neil, as always, for joining us. Absolute pleasure. Thank you to all you guys. I'll see you Wednesday and Thursday and Sunday. Loads of stuff. Come on, you Gunners. Let's do it.